The warning shot wasn't supposed to hit her boat. She didn't panic when water started seeping through the hull, didn't radio for help, didn't even look concerned. Instead, she made one phone call. Within minutes, a helicopter landed on the Navy vessel. The highest-ranking intelligence officer in the Atlantic personally saluted her from across the water. The officers who fired that shot, their careers ended that day. They never knew who she really was until it was too late. From which city in the world are you watching this video today if you enjoy stories about extraordinary people hiding in plain sight? Consider subscribing. We share new content every week. The Atlantic Ocean shimmers under the early morning sun as Maya Cross's sleek vessel cuts through calm waters. The boat, christened Silent Current, moves with purpose despite appearing to drift leisurely. From a distance, she appears to be just another solo sailor. Athletic build, weather-appropriate attire, quiet competence in her movements. Nothing about her suggests anything extraordinary. Maya adjusts her course slightly, checking her position on both standard charts and a custom satellite system partially hidden in the navigation console. The equipment hums quietly, technology that doesn't match the boat's civilian appearance. She's precisely where she needs to be, drifting purposefully toward the edge of a contested maritime boundary. The sea breeze tousles her sun-streaked blonde hair as she scans the horizon methodically. Her weathered hands suggest years of experience, though her age remains difficult to determine. She could be anywhere from late 30s to early 50s. Something about her carries both youthful vitality and the weight of accumulated experience. A notification flashes on her screen. Approaching vessel. Maya glances up, unsurprised to see a naval patrol ship changing course to intercept. She had been expecting company for the past hour. The USS Blackwater, if her intelligence is correct. She continues her methodical adjustments to her instruments, seemingly unconcerned by the approaching military vessel. On the Blackwater's bridge, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Kane observes the civilian vessel through binoculars. His expression tightens with concern as he notes the boat's heading. "She's still on course for the restricted zone," he comments to no one in particular. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Torres, the ship's executive officer, steps up beside him. Torres's posture is rigid, his uniform immaculate. Everything about him speaks to ambition and adherence to protocol. "Civilian vessel on bearing 120, Kane says into the radio. "This is the USS Blackwater. You are approaching restricted waters. Alter your course immediately." Through the binoculars, they watch as Maya acknowledges with a polite wave. She continues her heading unchanged. "She's acknowledging, but not complying," Torres notes, annoyance creeping into his voice. "Likely another activist testing boundaries." "Let's not jump to conclusions," Kane responds, though doubt edges into his voice. "Issue another warning." Torres takes the radio. "Civilian vessel, this is the USS Blackwater. You are entering restricted waters. Change course now, or we will be forced to take action." Maya offers a pleasant, non-committal response, a simple nod visible through their binoculars. Her boat maintains its heading. "Sir," Torres says, turning to Kane, "regulations are clear about unauthorized vessels in restricted waters, especially with Russian naval activity increasing in the region. She could be gathering intelligence." Kane studies the woman through his binoculars. Something doesn't fit the profile of typical boundary-pushing activists. The boat is too high-end, and the woman too calm, too deliberate in her movements. "Final warning," Kane decides, taking the radio himself. "Civilian vessel, this is your final warning. Alter course immediately, or we will be forced to fire warning shots." Aboard the Silent Current, Maya receives the message with the same calm demeanor. She checks her watch, then a series of readings on her specialized equipment. Everything is proceeding according to plan. She makes a minor adjustment to her heading, not enough to take her away from the restricted waters, but enough to be noticeable. Back on the Blackwater, Torres observes the slight change in direction. "She's taunting us, sir, making minimal adjustments to appear cooperative while continuing her approach." Kane hesitates, then nods grimly. "Prepare to fire a warning shot. Aim well clear of the vessel. Standard distance protocol." "Yes, sir," Torres responds, unable to hide his satisfaction. He relays the orders to the weapons station. The warning shot cracks across the water, but something goes wrong. Instead of splashing harmlessly beside the Silent Current, it clips the hull near the waterline. Water immediately begins seeping in. "What the hell happened?" Kane demands, grabbing the binoculars again. That was too close. Sir, the sea conditions must have affected the trajectory, Torres offers quickly. The targeting was correct. Kane curses under his breath, grabbing the radio. Civilian vessel, this is USS Blackwater. Do you require assistance? We're preparing rescue operations. Through their binoculars, they watch for panic, a distress signal, a mayday call, any sign of alarm from the lone woman aboard the damaged vessel. Instead, Maya calmly steps into her cabin and retrieves a satellite phone, unlike any standard model. The device is sleek black with no visible markings or branding. She makes a single call, speaking just 6 words. Eclipse, North Atlantic, Kane, confirmed. Torres scoffs as they observe her through the binoculars. Who's she calling? Her lawyer? Kane doesn't answer. Something about the woman's calm efficiency sends a chill up his spine. Her reaction doesn't match the situation. No panic, no anger, not even concern about her damaged vessel. Just that strange, deliberate call. Sir, one of the junior officers calls from the communication station. We're picking up unusual activity on secured channels. Something's accessing our systems. Kane turns sharply. What do you mean, something? Be specific. I'm not sure, sir. It's like our encryption protocols are being bypassed. We're receiving a direct transmission on a classified frequency. Before Kane can respond, all communication systems on the Blackwater malfunction simultaneously. Screens flicker, encryption protocols fail, and a digitally altered voice emerges from their speakers. USS Blackwater, this is Stratcom Override Protocol 9. You have engaged a Wraith-class asset. Authentication code, Whiskey, Alpha, Romeo, Delta, Echo, November. The bridge falls silent. Every officer stares at the speakers, then at each other. Torres turns to Kane, confusion evident on his face. Sir, what is this? The color has drained from Kane's face. He recognizes the code, something from a classified briefing he received years ago when taking command. Something he was told would likely never happen during his career. Stand down all weapon systems, Kane orders, his voice tight. Now. But sir, we don't know who— That's an order, Lieutenant Commander, Kane snaps. Stand down all weapons and prepare to receive incoming transmission. Torres hesitates, then relays the orders. The tension on the bridge thickens as they wait. Sir, the communications officer calls. We're receiving a secure video transmission. It's coming through on the emergency command channel. Put it on the main screen, Kane orders. Admiral Rebecca Sterling appears on screen, her silver hair pulled back in a severe bun, her uniform adorned with rows of decorations. Behind her, several figures remain partially obscured, men and women in both military and civilian attire, their faces deliberately kept out of frame. Commander Kane, Sterling says, her voice tight with controlled fury. Do you have any idea what you've done? Kane stands at attention. Admiral, we engaged an unresponsive civilian vessel approaching restricted waters following standard protocol. The warning shot inadvertently struck the hull. That's not some tourist, Sterling cuts him off. That's Maya Cross. Torres steps forward. With respect, Admiral, who is Maya Cross? The Admiral's face hardens. Someone you're not cleared to know about, Lieutenant Commander. Multiple satellite feeds suddenly redirect to the bridge screens. The crew watches footage of a woman, unmistakably the same woman on the boat, from operations spanning more than a decade. The first shows her extracting American hostages from a facility in Eastern Europe. Another video shows her preventing a cyber terror attack in Hong Kong. A third reveals her receiving a medal from a former president in a classified ceremony. Cross isn't just an asset, Admiral Sterling explains. She designed the Wraith program. Half the protocols your systems run on were created by her. When she went private, 4 separate intelligence agencies signed agreements guaranteeing her complete autonomy. Kane feels the weight of the situation crushing down on him. Admiral, there was no notification of a sanctioned operation in this region. Nothing in our daily briefings. Because there wasn't supposed to be, Sterling responds sharply. That boat you fired on is gathering data on unauthorized Russian incursions that official Navy vessels can't approach without causing an international incident. Meanwhile, on a secondary screen, they can see Maya still aboard her vessel. The damage appears minimal. She's already deployed some kind of self-sealing compound on the hull breach. She remains on her satellite phone, her expression unchanging as she speaks. "Who is she talking to?" Torres asks, unable to hide his concern. Sterling's expression darkens further. "The Secretary of Defense, who has already awakened the President. This incident has triggered an automatic audit of the entire Atlantic command structure." Kane feels his stomach drop. "Admiral, I take full responsibility. My crew was following my orders." "This goes beyond you, Commander. 3 people in your chain of command knew about Wraith protocols and failed to implement them. The system failed before you even made contact with her vessel." A commotion draws everyone's attention as a junior officer rushes onto the bridge. "Sir, a helicopter is approaching. It's not responding to identification requests." Kane looks to the Admiral on screen, who nods curtly. "Let it land. That's Director Hayes from Naval Intelligence." The bridge falls silent. Director Patricia Hayes is almost a mythical figure, the head of Naval Intelligence whose face rarely appears in any official capacity. Her arrival in person signals the severity of the situation. "What happens now?" Kane asks. "Effective immediately. This patrol unit is suspended. Lieutenant Commander Torres will be reassigned pending investigation. 2 admirals have already tendered resignations for the failure in communication protocols." Torres steps forward, face flushed. "Admiral, this is not open for discussion, Lieutenant Commander." Sterling cuts him off. The helicopter approaches rapidly, and Kane dismisses the crew to prepare for Hayes' arrival. As they scatter to their duties, Kane remains alone on the bridge, watching Maya's vessel through the windows. Through his binoculars, he can see her finishing her call and returning to repairing the hull damage. Her movements are precise, efficient, the actions of someone who has faced far worse than a minor hull breach. For the first time, he notices subtle details about her boat. Reinforced sections that don't match civilian designs, antenna arrays disguised as ordinary equipment, the unusual thickness of what should be standard glass. The helicopter lands on the Blackwater's deck with precision. From it emerges a tall, lean woman with steel-gray hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to authority without needing to display it. Director Hayes wears no uniform, only a tailored dark suit that somehow conveys more authority than any military decoration. Hayes doesn't acknowledge any of the crew. She walks directly to the edge of the deck facing Maya's vessel, stands at attention, and renders a formal salute that holds for an uncomfortably long time. Through his binoculars, Kane watches as Maya finally acknowledges the salute with a small nod. The exchange feels ancient and ceremonial, a protocol from another era. "What just happened?" Torres whispers, having appeared at Kane's side. "Recognition," Kane responds quietly. "When a sovereign asset has been compromised." Before Kane can explain further, Director Hayes turns and approaches them, her eyes sharp, evaluating, cold. She scans both officers before settling on Kane. "Commander, we need to talk." The Blackwater's conference room feels smaller than usual as Director Hayes takes position at the head of the table. Kane and his senior officers sit in rigid silence, the weight of the situation evident in their postures. "Gentlemen," Hayes begins, her voice surprisingly soft for a woman with such authority. "What happened today was a catastrophic failure of intelligence protocol, not tactical judgment." She activates a secure tablet, and a holographic display materializes above the conference table. Classified files, security clearances, operational parameters far beyond anything Kane has ever been authorized to see. Maya Cross is one of 12 Wraith-class assets operating globally. These individuals work independently of standard command structures, but with full authorization from the highest levels of government. Hayes scans the faces around the table. "Most of you will never encounter another one in your careers." Kane feels a chill as he recalls a briefing, a seemingly routine overview of obscure protocols he'd assumed would never apply to him. "Sir," Torres interjects, unable to contain himself. "With respect, how are we supposed to avoid this if we weren't properly informed? This seems like an institutional failure, not our unit's responsibility." Hayes regards Torres with a measuring look. That's precisely what it is, Lieutenant Commander. 3 flag officers in your direct chain of command received quarterly updates on Wraith operations in their areas of responsibility. All 3 failed to implement proper notification protocols. Hayes directs her attention to the entire group. Maya Cross has saved more American lives than everyone on this ship combined. She operates without recognition because her effectiveness depends on anonymity. Today, you compromised that. One of the officers finally asks the question they're all wondering. Sir, what exactly does she do? Hayes considers the question before answering. Cross specializes in operations that cannot exist officially. When governments need complete deniability combined with absolute effectiveness, they call her. The boat you encountered today is gathering intelligence on Russian military developments in these waters. Information our official vessels can't collect without risking international incidents. After a moment's consideration, Kane asks, Sir, request permission to personally apologize to Miss Cross. The request clearly surprises Hayes, who studies Kane with renewed interest. Why? Because someone should acknowledge the error directly, sir. If I'm the commanding officer responsible, it should be me. Hayes considers this, then nods. Granted, she's still repairing her hull. I'll have a launch prepared. As the other officers file out, Hayes motions for Kane to remain behind. Once they're alone, her demeanor shifts subtly. Kane, there's something you should understand about Cross. She's not angry about what happened today. Sir? This incident served a purpose. The fact that you encountered her at all means someone in your chain failed to implement crucial security protocols. That failure needed to be exposed. Kane processes this information. You're saying she deliberately put herself in our path? Cross tests systems by finding their breaking points, Hayes explains. Today she found one. Now we can fix it before someone with less benevolent intentions exploits the same gap. 20 minutes later, Kane stands awkwardly on the deck of the Silent Current as Maya repairs her hull with practiced efficiency. The damage is minor, a small puncture that she's treating with some kind of advanced polymer sealant that hardens on contact with the hull material. Ms. Cross, Kane begins formally. I want to apologize for... Commander, she interrupts without looking up from her work. I put myself in your path. This was a scheduled test of response protocols. Your tactical assessment was correct. Your intelligence briefing was not. Her voice carries no hint of accusation, just matter-of-fact assessment. Kane is struck by how different she seems up close. Her eyes reflect a depth of experience that makes him feel like a novice despite his years of service. They're dismantling our entire unit because of this, he says, unable to keep a trace of bitterness from his voice. Maya finally looks up, her eyes sharp and evaluating. No, they're restructuring because 3 people in your chain of command knew about Wraith protocols and failed to implement them. The system failed, not you. She sets aside her repair tools and reaches into a waterproof case, extracting a small unmarked device no larger than a thumb drive. When you're reassigned next month, and you will be reassigned, not discharged, plug this into any secure terminal. It will give you access to the real briefings you should have had. Kane takes the device cautiously. How do you know? I know because I helped design the system that determines where officers like you go next. Your service record indicates potential. Your actions today confirmed it. Kane stares at the device. Why me? Lieutenant Commander Torres follows rules. You understand why rules sometimes need to be broken. She returns to her repair work. You have questions. Ask them while you can. Kane hesitates, then decides on directness. What exactly do you do out here? Maya pauses, seeming to consider how much to reveal. I operate in the negative spaces between official agencies, when different branches can't communicate because of jurisdictional boundaries or classification issues. I create secure bridges. I maintain those bridges. And that requires you to be out here alone? It requires me to be mobile, independent, and outside the system I help maintain. She glances at him. Your last question, Commander. Make it count. Kane considers carefully. They call you something. A call sign. What is it? For the first time, Maya offers a slight smile. Eclipse. Thank you for your time, Miss Cross, Kane says formally, turning to leave. Commander, she calls as he reaches the edge of her boat. Remember that device I gave you? You'll know when to use it. As Kane returns to his transport craft, he glances back in time to witness something extraordinary. The silent current powers up with previously hidden technology. Panels shift, lights activate along concealed seams, and what appeared to be ordinary sections of the hull reconfigure themselves. The entire vessel smoothly slips beneath the waves, leaving barely a ripple. By the time he reaches the Blackwater and looks back, the sea is empty. It's as though Maya Cross was never there at all. 3 months later, Commander Kane sits in his new office at Naval Intelligence Headquarters, reviewing classified files that would have been well above his clearance level in his previous position. His experience with Maya Cross had opened doors he hadn't known existed within the military structure. His screen displays a classified file, Operation Wraith Sentinel, that details Maya's ongoing work across the globe. At the bottom of the file is a personal note. Some serve in the light, others serve in shadow. Both are necessary. E. Kane inserts the device Maya had given him into his secure terminal. As promised, it unlocks access to briefings he should have received aboard the Blackwater. Information about designated zones where sovereign assets might operate, recognition codes, and proper response protocols. A knock at his door interrupts his thoughts. Director Hayes enters without waiting for a response. Commander, we have a situation developing. Conference room in 5 minutes. Hayes slides a tablet across the table. Eclipse has already made contact. She's requesting you specifically for a joint operation. Kane blinks in surprise. Me? Why? She believes you understand how to work with sovereign assets. 6 hours later, Kane finds himself aboard a high-speed transport heading across the Mediterranean. As they approach the rendezvous coordinates, running lights appear off the port side, emerging from nowhere, as if the vessel had materialized from the darkness itself. The silent current looks different, its hull now matte black, its profile lower to the water. Maya waits on deck wearing tactical gear. Permission to come aboard, Kane calls softly. Granted, she responds. Once aboard, Kane dismisses his transport. Commander, she greets him formally. We have an extraction to perform. She leads him below deck where the civilian facade gives way to advanced technology. Falcon was compromised while tracking a weapons shipment, Maya explains. Libyan Coastal Patrol intercepted her before she could transmit intelligence about surface-to-air missiles being delivered to insurgent forces. The plan involves posing as representatives from an international maritime research foundation. The infiltration proceeds smoothly, their credentials passing inspection with Maya handling interactions in flawless Arabic. They locate Falcon in a detention facility and extract her through service corridors during a carefully orchestrated distraction. Hours later, safely aboard the Silent Current, Kane finds himself alone with Maya on the bridge. Your performance exceeded expectations, she tells him. How many sovereign assets are there? Fewer than there were. The program reached its peak during the early war on terror. Now we're more selective. As they reach international waters, Maya engages advanced propulsion systems. We'll reach your rendezvous point in 3 hours. And after that? Do we just go back to our separate worlds? Maya studies him. The device I gave you contains additional access protocols. There may be situations where your position within the system and my position outside it create useful synergies. Kane nods, understanding the offer. I'll keep that in mind, Eclipse. 3 hours later, as his transport arrives, Kane watches the Silent Current disappear over the horizon. The device in his pocket represents a connection between worlds, a bridge between those who serve in the light and those who serve in shadow. As his transport heads toward familiar waters, Kane finds himself looking forward to the next time his secure terminal lights up with a message from Eclipse.